Now, in all honesty, Chris, this is the second go.
Take.
Because in the other one we got so distracted by our own conversation that it ended up being nearly 5 minutes and we hadn't started the story yet, so we're going to have a little second bash.
If you would like that 5 minutes of us discussing who Melvin Bragg is and whether it's the Pyramids of Giza or GMTG, we will send it to you.
We'll show ya.
But generally, we're actually going to get on with the story now.
We're
The
gonna
story
try.
which you
Fucking
requested.
try it anyway.
You requested a story starring you, Chris Conway, and a magical creature, Melvin Bragg. In the past, 2004, inside the Pyramids of Giza. We will get down to it now.
We're gonna just dive straight into
Straight in.
Giza.
Dive straight in like we dive into so many things. Lakes today.
Lakes today. I think there's a parasite living in me now.
Now, one day, Chris was walking
Through
Through the-
Giza.
through Giza.
Sorry, it was your bit.
No, you know what? Becky? You know what? It's fine.
Oh, I want a sandwich.
Chris was
Carry on!
Chris was walking.
Ignore me.
through the Pyramids of Giza. Walking along. Touring. Seeing all that could be seen.
Sightseeing.
In the other room, he overheard a voice. The voice was familiar. It was the voice of so many radio programs. It was the voice of comfort and of knowledge. It was the voice of questioning and answering. It was the voice of Melvin Bragg. He could hear Melvin Bragg in the other room of the pyramids. So he went
Next door,
through.
like through the wall.
So he went through to the next room in the pyramids and he met Melvin Bragg. Now, this was, we should emphasise, 2004. This was 2004. What is wrong? It was 2004.
Sorry about that.
2004. Dido had just made it. And was indeed playing out of all the speakers throughout the pyramid. White Flag in particular.
I will go down with this ship. No, I'm singing, you'll carry on.
And so, as it was 2004, Chris was quite young. Still in primary school. And went over to Melvin and said, no, Melvin burped.
Yeah.
Before Chris could get a word out, Melvin had burped right near him. Chris didn't really know what to say. So he walked away and started looking at all these brooches that were along the wall. These little
Brooches?
tiny, yes.
Okay.
Tiny amulets. Tiny Egyptian amulets. There was a little beetle. There was a bird's head. And there were 3 pillars. 3 pillars joined into one. Some say that those 3 pillars are a symbol of structure and strength. Chris admired these amulets and then he blinked and one of them began glowing. He looked at it and blinked again to see if the blinking would stop the glowing, but no, the glowing continued. Melvin was still in the corner with his tour guide troop, who were all chilling in the back listening to him talk about the various mummies that were in the Pyramids of Giza. But Chris, primary school Chris, was looking at these amulets. The beetle amulet glowed and came alive and scuttled away. Take it away, Becky. Becky?
A beetle amulet glowed
And scuttled away.
and scuttled away.
Yes.
Down through a little crevice. Christopher K. Conway miniaturised primary school Chris was so tiny that he could leap in and follow him down this little stream of never-ending hope and glory. And where should they emerge 2 hours later? This amulet and this little Christopher Conway? They emerged in the Congo. They bubbled out, and then the amulet transmitted a... dear me.
The amulet
Transmitted a little geographical bleep 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 Congo. And Chris, even though he was young, he was still really clever, and he was like, oh, yeah, got it. So he clambered out, dragging the amulet behind him, and thought, oh, jeez Louise, I'm stuck in the Congo. What am I gonna do now? And he was holding the amulet, and he was just looking at it, and he thought, maybe it's like a genie's lamp. So he gave it a little wiggle, a little rubble wobble. And who should burst out of the amulet but
Dido!
That's what I was going to say.
No, go on.
The Pharaoh, Tutankhamun!
That's much
Soul.
That's much better.
Thank you. And he said, I will grant you 3 wishes, but only to do with music. And Chris Conway said, I don't like it here in the Conway. I don't like it here in the Congo.
Because he can Congo his own Conway.
He can come and Congo as he pleases. He said, bring me a musical artist who can sing me home. And so Tutankhamun conjured a apparition of Dido, and she sung White Flag.
Do we know any other Dido songs?
Nope. And she sung White Flag so loudly and so fiercely that the notes and the musicality of which carried Conway on the wind until he dropped back in England.
Where he met Melvyn Bragg, who was giving a radio show by this point, because he'd had a little sort of flight over first class, so he'd got there as quick. Yeah. Doing a radio show about people's experiences with, the pyramids. And it was Chris who first said, these amulets that you've got there in the pyramids, they are alive. And people didn't believe him, so he went over there and took them there and showed them. And indeed, the beetle amulet had scuttled away. And the bird's head amulet had flown. And the 3 pillars that stood as the tiny amulet were doing nothing. And then Chris went, no. What? And he reached out and pointed at those 3 pillars, and the pillars began to grow into a beautiful piece of architecture which filled up the pyramid and are the reason that pyramid is still standing today, because it would have fallen between 2004 and 2016.
You are right.
Had it not been for those pillars on the inside holding it up.
Well, goodness gracious, call me a fiddle. There's a story for you.
Well, it's definitely something. Anyway, it's over now.
That's what you think. Get me a corned beef sandwich. Laters. Love you, Chris.
Love you lots. I'll see you soon. Bye.